Greetings everyone, this is TimeRider. Welcome to the first Invitational 3 Blind Mice build. Hey, as I understand it, the 3 blind mice are no longer being chased by just the farmer's wife, but rather 4 horsemen and a die-cast version of the mob, which I'm going to call the Oddfathers. I wish them all well. The Hot Wheels 56 Flashsider, according to the wiki, is a 1956 Chevy truck, but it could really be any Chevy or GMC produced from 1955 to 1959. I say this because Hot Wheels has really removed any identifying details like the grille. From this particular truck, it does look like the task force design it was based upon. It could be argued that the GMC bumper is a little different, but bottom line is it's a pretty generic casting. Hot Wheels produced the truck much longer than Chevy, introducing it in 1992, and according to the Hot Wheels wiki, it's still in production today. They painted them every way possible and used them in promotional issues as well. This Malto Meal promotional was produced in 1995. If you don't know, Malto Meal is a breakfast cereal, something like cream of wheat. It's produced in a small town called Northfield right here in Minnesota. It would stand to reason that there are a few of them around here. This one I bought for the grand total of $1. Considering that I can go get a sausage McMuffin for $1 and turn it into poop, I won't be doing anything here that I haven't done before. So let's get straight on with it. The casting was new. I took it out of the bubble. It was held together with a clip and one rolled over post. It had a plastic base and a die-cast top and some really ugly wheels. I put a smaller drill through first to get rid of most of the post, and then I very carefully ran a larger drill. I didn't want to take away too much of the plastic, so that's why I didn't use that bit right from the start. Got it apart. It's a very basic casting. I will say this, it's a really stout casting in that the metal is pretty thick. But how does everything start? It starts with salsa. Down she goes. Then some time goes by. And you open it up. And that wonderful aircraft stripper took everything off of it. Just needs to be cleaned. So then we can go after it with our wire brush. And part of this process for me is just looking at, okay, well now what do I need to do to it? I didn't really know where I was going to go with this project. I did have some ideas. I was really gratified to see the condition of the casting surface, because that meant that I probably wasn't going to have to plate. It was just going to be filing and sanding. But the first thing I do with any casting is I get it down as far as I can go with the steel wool and the brush, and then I polish it. Because that polish, boy, that does it, reveals everything. And if you want to do this work, in my mind, if you want to do this work and do it well, you have to get rid of as many of the flaws as you possibly can. The toughest part about this casting was the area that I'm cleaning right now between the cab and the flare side. Very hard area to sand, as well as the top of the flare sides. Because there's just not a lot of ways you can get sandpaper and such in there and do a real effective job. But the casting has a lot of big, broad, flat surfaces too on the cab itself, which are very, very nice. I'll have an episode of The Bench coming out tomorrow. I'm redoing that Matchbox tow truck. I'm sure I've shown you guys, you know, that was one of the very first Matchbox I ever did. I never did a video on it, and somebody suggested that I get another one after a year. I mean, look at this casting, though, now that I've polished it. Yeah, you can see everything that needs to be done. And everybody says put your bloopers on here. This isn't really a blooper. I was doing a lot of promos for this, as you guys know, for the Three Blind Mice. And this is me being a fuss budget, getting my camera set so I can take a still. I wanted to take that still pretty much right there. But I'm such a OCD about my photography. It had to be perfect. It's a nice looking casting, though. I think I told George and Paul that it was a palette, I think was what I told them, because I picked this casting. And with two guys with paint skills like theirs, that's... I'm a pretty cheeky bloke to do that, because those guys they're going to kick my ass out. They're going to want me... I'm going to want to go in the closet and cry, as Paul would say. And I still hadn't figured out what I was going to do yet, but I knew it was going to involve this. So once I decided, I didn't need these wheels. I didn't even need the mounts anymore. So it was just time to take them out. And then, of course, you know, you got to put it back together at some point in time. So time to prep the post. So I had mentioned that this particular casting was a Task Force truck, which was a Chevrolet truck from 55 to 59. If you went over to a GMC dealer, you'd find it called a blue chip. It was kind of innovative. It had a lot of neat things like wraparound windshield and power steering, power brakes. You get 12-volt electrical. The only difference really between 55 and 56 seemed to be the emblems. My Anderson Oiler from Transport Graphics, my buddies in Rogers, Minnesota, for all your vinyl wrap needs. Get yourself a button screw. I've had a number of people ask. These are 1/8 inch 2-56 button screws. I think the guys over in Europe use 2mm. But that's what I use. That's what the tap is, 2-56, and the button screws are 1/8. And if you Google that, you'll get 500,000 places that'd be happy to sell you a whole bag of them. Casting preparation. I think that, you know, that's the direction I think that my channel is going to go in the coming year. I mean, I'm not going to ever stop doing restorations because I love them, you know, so much. I'm trying to get rid of that body line. I got the other side to do as well. That was the biggest problem with this casting, was the body lines. Wonderful, wonderful bits that I got that are perfect for what I'm trying to do. The casting line, of course, ran right through a crevice in the body. So it's nice to have these tools, because if this is the direction that I want things to go, and I really do think this is a very good direction to go. I mean, you never know where it might lead. I needed the bottom of this thing flat. So I just cut everything off. I wasn't going to use it anyway. I don't need their pipes. I don't really need any of it. I'm going to paint the whole thing black, because what I'm going to do to it will be functional. It'll have this kind of plastic involved. It probably won't be pretty, though. It's definitely going to be form follows function. Trust me. The casting, though, yeah, it's these are sanding pads. If you go to Amazon and type in sanding pad, you'll get a plethora of opportunities to buy sanding pads. So don't be looking for a link. Including these sanding pads, which are great. A little finer grit here, the green one. You know, it's just really, for me, it's about working the casting. I don't know if I said that the design before this was called the Advanced design. It was a more fendered truck, I think. These are really popular with hot rodders, this particular body style. I can see why, too. So I need to make a suspension. So I put a subframe, and now I'm using the plastic sheeting to make suspension pieces, like kind of fake springs. This isn't exactly precision work, though. It's real, it's better than putting a glob of milliput down there, which is something I probably would have done a year ago. Yep, just glue and plastic. That's all it is. I'll show you the completed bottom before I paint it so you can see what I did. I'm going to put axle sleeves on there, and I got these giant mutter tires. So if you haven't figured out, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm turning it into it's not going to be a monster truck. It's just going to have big mutter tires on it. So the casting, of course, needs to be painted, and I decided on gold, and there's a reason for that. Put a tack coat on it. Look at that casting. See how sharp that is? Man, that Spectraflame just looks really good on it. And I want to do more of this. I really like this truck. Of course, after the tack coat, heavier coats. This actually, as you'll see, wound up being the most beautiful gold. I think I had, it was either 3 or 4 coats of paint with, 15-minute breaks in between. And it just wound up being this wonderful, wonderful gold color. And this paint, of course, you can get at the Red Line shop. And no, I didn't get anything for saying that, but their product is really good. And no, I don't paint that fast either. So when I'm going to do a roof or something, this is usually what I do. I just tape the whole damn casting down onto a piece of cardboard and tape off everything except what I want to paint. And I need for this tonneau cover to be black for what I plan on doing with it. Need a little more paint. So anyway, I get done with it and I look at it and it's like, man, that side is absolutely perfect. Isn't it? Boy, that's pretty good for government work. The back looks real good as well. And then I get over to this side of the truck and it's like, oh no, the paint got by the tape. You can kind of see it there right above the back, right where I'm pointing right there. It's black. Unless you look right at it, you'd never notice it. But guess what? It went back in the stripper and I started over because I can do better than that. I'm not going to show you me painting the thing black again, but there's how it wound up after the Spectraflame. I don't know if I just forgot to hit the record button or what, but I painted it black the second time and I actually did a process on it, you'll see. And I'll kind of explain to you when I get to putting the clear coat on. You'll be able to see it. There it is. You paint the deck black, and then I bought a old fish net for like an aquarium, and I cut a piece out of it, laid that over the black, and sprayed silver, and it gives it a faux carbon steel look. In the final reveal, you'll see it. You can see it much better, and it does. It looks really nice. I don't know that it looks like carbon steel, but it sure looks nice. And then there's my base. Those are actually pins that I ran through the axle sleeving because there's a couple little holes in there for me to put some super glue through when I put the mutters on. And no, that base is for something else I'm working on. I was just shooting black, so I figured I'd shoot them both. But yeah, I just painted it with semi-gloss Tamiya black. And then I used my chrome pens to redo the bumpers and just the bumper or the grill edges. And no, I didn't do it that fast. This is about 200%. My old hands would shake way too much. Turned out pretty good though. Here we go. And back to the beginning. Yeah, they all had black windshields as far as I know. No interiors. Just a real good kind of a staple sort of casting. So let's take a look what I wound up with. So first let me say please go to the Three Blind Mice channel. I'll have a link in my description. And check out the other builders that brought some Flash. And although I'm not a huge Gophers fan, I'm a Minnesota boy, lived here all my life, and I guess currently our Minnesota Gopher football team is undefeated, and they're going to Iowa today at 3 o'clock. So this is my shout out to them, wishing the boys good luck. I'll be watching them on the big screen. And again, please visit those other sites. No episode of The Bench today. There'll be a full episode tomorrow. This is TimeRider, and I'll leave the light on for you.